You're on, by the way.
Oh, well,
Hello, good
hello.
friends. Although nobody's probably watching it. But they could be watching the VOD.
Yeah,
So hello,
definitely.
VOD people.
Hello, everybody. Oh, no. Yeah, Muffin invited
Fun.
me too. Oh, so silly. All right, well, these teams look pretty nice. They have like three relatively high elo players on each side.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with most of these people. I mean, I know who they are personally, but I haven't really played with them a lot. I did play normal the other day with Mr. Charles here. Played some mid lane Varus, did alright with it.
Yeah, dude, mid lane Varus is silly, dude. The poke he can get out. It's just
I like the ultimate. The ultimate
yeah.
was. I like my CC and ganks. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely. But from the previous tournament, we saw that Dumby and Dangy were forced to be reckoned with in the bottom lane. So we're gonna see how the bottom lane is gonna do here. Because last time they almost I think they almost made they took second place, I believe. Um, and yeah, that bottom lane really wasn't something that anybody could mess around with. And if somebody like underestimated them, they get punished really hard.
I did not get to see their bot lane, so that should be exciting.
Yeah.
I know that NBA LeBron James did pretty well last time too, right?
Yeah, and LeBron James, he does pretty good. He was on the UTSA team, and he is. I believe he plays quite a few mid laners. From what I've seen him play, it's very very different mid laners. I've seen him play mostly Diana because that's what he's most comfortable with, and as well as LeBlanc.
I think Diana's
Those
very,
are
very strong right now.
yeah yeah.
I like to see that.
It'll be interesting to see how this game turns out. Depends on where everybody goes as well. Straight Rippin also on the UTSA team right now. He's doing pretty well there. He has a pretty broad champion pool, so he's definitely not somebody that you can really ban out. Um, so yeah, I don't know about Fire. I know Firefox was playing Malzahar last time around. I don't know if he's still gonna go mid or anything, but look for him to maybe they'll ban out the Malzahar from last time because Malzahar is a relatively safe champion, and even though you might be playing against like higher skilled players, Malzahar can just wave clear and pretty much not
The issue
give
with
a care in the world.
the issue
Yeah,
with Malzahar is that even though he has the the wave clear, he doesn't have an escape move, so he's very susceptible to dives if you get too complacent to try to like wave clear with your E. That's
yeah,
generally why I think if people want to have a champion like that, they usually go for something like Morgana. Um,
yeah.
but I mean, theoretically, if Malzahar can overcome the shortcomings of not having an escape move, then well, or I guess I should say an anti-dive move, then he does push lanes much faster.
Yeah, definitely. I see. I think Neuroid was playing. I think was it Neuroid that was playing a Kale last time? I believe so. I think he played Kale and he was well. Kale is just really strong in the late game, and nobody really punished that Kale in the early game. So look for those kinds of
I
things
think
to
we're going
happen.
to champion select.
Yeah. So here we go. All right. Let's see what they ban here.
Are there any like champions on either side that like people are like particularly known for?
Probably. So like I was saying, maybe okay. So Dangy and Dumby played Vayne Janna in the bottom lane. Yeah, there we go. Dangy's Vayne all right away banned out because Dangy we saw him in in the last tournament just completely destroy everybody with Vayne. And I don't know what Dumby's gonna play this time around, but we also might see a a Fizz ban because Charles is a very good player at playing that champion. So maybe we'll see
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Obviously, Straight Ripping has like a lot of games on Rek'Sai, and that's his main comfort champion. So they want to take him off of that. I know he has some experience with like Gragas and things like that. I usually make him play those kinds of like tanky junglers, but I don't know. In this meta, it might be a little bit different now.
Sejuani ban is kind of
Yeah, I don't know why they
different.
banned Sejuani. She's kind of she's maybe like a tier 3 jungler now. I don't
She's
think
sort of like fallen out of the spotlight
yeah.
from like 3 or 4 months ago when she was just like the actual. Well, the perception of her was that she was just the actual nuts.
Yeah. Well, I always believed that Rek'Sai was like the queen of the jungle. I really like Rek'Sai. And I know you hate Rek'Sai because Nunu.
Yeah, Rek'Sai's good. I mean,
Yeah.
he's very mobile, good ganks, good skirmishing. Team fighting
Yeah.
is mediocre, but I mean, in terms of skirmish junglers, definitely one of
And
the
she did
best.
yeah, and she does just really well at like ganking and getting through walls and like she's really really mobile, especially with like her ultimate later on is like a 1 minute cooldown. It's super low.
I think the ultimate shores up. Okay, so we have a Gragas pick,
Yeah.
and I guess Gragas instantly locked in for the jungle.
Yeah, Gragas is super strong. I don't know. I don't know in this patch. I haven't played
Yeah,
him.
he had been changed this patch, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think his like health regen is not as high and things like that. But
You know, minor differences like that can make such a big change because even a small tweak on something like health regeneration, considering they spend 3 or 4 minutes in the jungle before typically trying to go in for a gank. A change like health regeneration can actually add up really quickly in terms of being able to gank after you're clear and not
yeah,
be at like
definitely.
half health.
I actually like the level 2 Gragas ganks because I feel like he's like really really strong when he hits level 2.
Yeah.
Depends what you start with also.
Um,
If you start like W, then maybe it's not. But if you start Q and then E, I think a level 2 can be kind of strong. So there's the Janna for Dumby.
yeah, the Jaina, and then I guess I would make it most likely a Nautilus jungle.
Most likely, I've seen some Nautilus top in some games, professional games, but I don't know if that's gonna be this instance in particular. So
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
yeah, what do you think about Ash? I really don't think she's that strong anymore. Cause like
I have not played against Ashe since the rework.
yeah,
Um, I feel like she plays very similarly in terms of her weakness is still the same, that she doesn't have an escape, she doesn't have like the Ezreal E or anything like that that lets her get away. So you have to be very good at positioning and have a lot of faith in people to peel for you. And then,
yeah,
but at the same time, the trade-off is really large because I mean her ultimate is essentially the same thing. So she sets up ganks really well. She has good utility. She's probably the only ADC aside from maybe Varus that has actual initiation, which is uncommon for that role. In
yeah,
the
definitely.
the Bard Ash lane.
I mean, Bart can do things. I don't know if he's like the best peeler for Ash. Um,
I think if you're trying to do that, like they have three strong initiation champions. So Purple Team's gonna have to be really careful about not being in a position where one of these ults lands and then just hoses them for the subsequent team fight because
yeah,
any of those three champions can initiate.
they have
Um,
really good both. I mean, not Siege, but they have really good pick potential here with the Bard ultimate or the Ass Arrow.
I feel like Janna, like trying to go for a hard initiation team against a Janna is maybe not necessarily the best idea because Janna's like whole shtick is that she's very good at disengaging.
Hmm.
But if you have that much initiation, maybe it doesn't really matter.
They do have a lot of backline assassination from the purple team, though. As you can see, the Nautilus ultimate as well as the Ezreal ultimate and the Kog'Maw poke. I feel like they're gonna do a lot of damage from far away.
I think Ash is gonna have to play this game really well to
Yeah,
overcome the Nautilus ulti. But at the
yeah,
same time, the Kog'Maw mid pick or Kog'Maw solo lane most likely or Ezreal solo lane, their enemy team doesn't really have the assassination. The purple team doesn't have the assassination that usually exploits Ash's weaknesses.
yeah. That's
Um,
true, but they do have a lot of like long range poke, and we see the Diana from LeBron James, like I said before, and the Sion in the top lane. That's interesting. I don't know who's gonna play that, but we'll see how it goes.
I think I would give a definite composition advantage to the blue team here. I think their composition is much stronger. Um, Mostly because I feel like they purple team didn't really capitalize on the compositional weakness of the blue team, specifically on the Ash. I don't think that they have the ability to punish the Ash very hard, aside from Nautilus ult. With no real follow up to it, it doesn't really. It's not enough by itself. But I mean,
Yeah,
we'll see.
yeah, we'll see. Depends if Kog'Maw can land those like crucial ultimates. Because like level 11, Kog'Maw really gets really scary where he can just poke from a lot of range. So depends. I don't know where the Gnar comes in all of this. Maybe to try to just get a front lane in there.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean,
um,
the Gnar pick I think is fine. If you're gonna have like two kind of range carries, then you have to have a meaty front line. Otherwise, you just get picked off. But
yeah,
yeah, so I think that given that the purple team chose two squishy carries, and the blue team has an assassin counter pick to that sort of strategy in Diana, and the purple team did not take advantage of that. Um, I definitely think the composition advantage goes to blue team.
yeah. And just looking at the lanes, it's gonna be really hard for either one. Um, for
But
pretty much like except for maybe the top lane, which Gnar can win.
that's a very minor point though, because I mean ultimately it's going to come down to player skill more than anything else.
Yeah,
These are like small percentage advantages that, you know, when you're talking about matchups when people can be laning against people that are 3 leagues above or below them, minor things like compositional advantages don't necessarily come into play, but
more like the outplay potential
yeah, if I
comes in. So, where do you think that Gragas is gonna start off ganking? Probably mid, or maybe even, no, I don't know, maybe top lane. Depends.
the
Cause I,
most gankable lane for see the most gankable lane I think for the Gragas is probably going to be in top. Um, Mostly because pre 6 it's very difficult for to gank a Diana lane. You can still do it, but without the ability of Diana to dash as an immediate follow up, it would take some pretty serious misplay out of Charl to actually die to a Diana gank.
yeah,
Um, and Ezreal Janna is like as safe
yeah,
as a
that's
bot
a
lane can
nightmare.
possibly
That's a
be. So,
nightmare
but at the
to
same
get.
time, we're talking pre 6 ganks. I don't think the onus is necessarily on either team to start snowballing the game early on, because I think both team compositions have perfectly fine scaling. Early on, I'd be surprised if either team died to a gank. I think if anything, the blue team is more susceptible to ganks. Um, but only slightly. Like these champions are all relatively bad at either following up on ganks for their team or being ganked by the enemy team. Because Ezreal Janna also doesn't like
They can't.
uh
Yeah, they don't
support
don't have
ganks
very
very
good gank
well.
assistance. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have, but I do think the blue team is more vulnerable just because of the Ashe. Even something like a Janna Tornado can buy plenty of time to kill an Ashe. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, definitely. So, remember I talked to you about Eve Jungle? How do you like her? Have you played her anymore?
Yeah, I've played almost exclusively Evelynn Jungle actually, but mostly in normals. I've been impressed. I think ever since that Q change, I think either 2 patches ago, 3 patches ago, probably like 3 patches ago, where they did the flat increase on her Q. I um, I think she's been in a really good spot. It's very unassuming if you're just looking at the patch notes and you see like, oh, a +5 damage increase on Q, most people don't think anything of it, but that's actually a really big deal. You know, a flat damage increase on an ability with that short of a cooldown is actually a very large DPS increase, and the DPS increase is a pretty big deal because not only are you doing more damage at all points in the game, which obviously gives you more success in your ganks and skirmish potential, but you're also killing jungle camps faster, which means you're farming faster and you're taking less damage. And one of Eve's weaknesses is trying to farm out of the jungle and keep her health total high so she can even gank in the first place. So even something as minor as you know, a +5 damage increase can make such a big difference for the viability of a champion. So I've been impressed with how she's performed. Also, I know there was a high-low Korean streamer who has been playing her in top lane and put out just absolutely monstrous stats. Like if you go to pro builds right now, he was running teleport smite top lane Evelynn and had an unreal win ratio ever since the change to Runeglaive.
Yeah.
So I definitely think the meta is good for Evelynn right now. And we are in.
Are we gonna see a level 1 from any one of these guys? I don't. Maybe from the Nautilus? No. I guess if anybody, maybe the. I don't know, because the Bard's kind of like a really good counter to any initiation.
I think I think a level 1 with the intention of trying to get a pick would be not that great. It would take a misplay out of the enemy team.
Yeah. But I meant more like a knowing where the jungler's gonna start kind of warding.
I would expect to see defensive play just because without, if you're going to try to be active level 1 in terms of actually invading, you need to have some sort of ranged CC, something like a Morgana bind or a Blitzcrank pull. None of these champions have that. You would not, you would never use Nautilus for that. Like if you went Q first on Nautilus, it'd be such a big risk with very little payoff.
Yeah.
Because it would be awful for clear. Janna face checking that bush.
Yeah.
Not sure if worth. That's okay.
Hey, Bard got a little bit of gold there, I think. He got 5 gold.
Yeah, I don't think very refined level 1 strategies out of these teams.
Yeah.
Diana guarding the turret just in case the purple team decides that they're going to try to backdoor the turret level 1.
Yeah.
Not often a strategy you see, but Diana is on the case if they try to do that.
Actually, whenever I was playing on the Chinese servers, whenever you played ranked, there was a lot of times where Dumby was, the blue team would gather and then they would wait for people to actually come around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those like counter invade strategies, like grouping in bushes, like here's really good, here's really good. Those can be awesome.
Yeah.
Some people are very predictable with their level 1 in the sense that they're predictable in that they always do a certain invade strategy level 1, and that's really good at punishing them.
Yeah.
But yeah, just very standard starts, which is, you know, to be expected.
Yeah, that's good. And the jungler's starting both on the bottom side of their jungles. I feel like that's a good place to start. Especially since top lane might be the focus where they want to gank. If not Diana, where Diana can in the mid lane, but that'd be a acceptable place to start for Nautilus either way.
I'm gonna rearrange people per the request of the chat.
I see. So far everybody's calm. Kog'Maw already getting that level advantage, but that's just expected, especially since he has a lot of range from Diana. And we see bottom lane as well. And pretty passive. They hit level 2, so now they're gonna most likely pressure back onto the bottom lane. Ashe can just remain safe for the time being.
Yeah, I would be surprised if anything happens here early. It looks like Gragas is gonna try.
Yeah. I mean, Kog'Maw's kind of overextended there, but Nautilus is coming around. Let's see what he can do. Oh, there we go.
Oh wow. This ignites at 100%.
Yeah. Ooh, Charles taking a lot of damage. So he might have to flash. Yeah.
Yeah, there was no real way for them to follow up because LeBron James flashed early on in that gank.
Yeah.
And I would say that was a pretty big win for Purple team because Diana's now down the Ignite, and
and Kog'Maw has this barrier, so maybe if Nautilus goes for a regank somewhere there, if she overextends, but so far it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen.
The thing is though, the Kog'Maw passive is actually quite relevant because Diana is going to have to be in melee range to kill the Kog'Maw. So even if they get the gank, there's no guarantee they get a clean gank where, you know, they get the kill and then don't die themselves. So I think that gank definitely went in Purple team's favor.
Yeah, I meant not all this ganking onto Diana. If she overextends, but it depends. If Charlotte can like bounce the wave and have it closer to his turret.
These lanes are as safe as they get.
Yeah.
It is. It'd be hard for anyone to die without some serious misplay. Although LeBron James is taking a lot of harass there, but he's backing, so it's fine. And he pushed the wave well, so he should be back in time.
Yeah, definitely. So far, everybody just CSing normally. Nothing happening. I thought this game was gonna be explosive, but it seems like everybody's just playing really conservatively.
Oh, I mean, it's just a function of the champion select. You know, there's not. That's no indication of how the game will progress as Dragon and turrets become more important. But in the early game, I mean, the champions just don't have the tools to really make anything exciting happen.
Yeah, definitely. Right now they don't, but we'll see what else develops here as we progress. So, seems like Nautilus has gotten a...
Sure, been going for another gank here.
Oh, maybe so. Let's see what they do.
I don't know how mana reliant Sion is.
A little bit, kind of, depends.
Pulling off of that. Thought better of it. Gnar warded it anyway. Without ward there, it's going to be very difficult for Gragas to even find a path into the top lane. He'd have to go some sort of like indirect route around there.
Can always eat through the Baron pit, but that'll give him a pretty nasty cooldown on his team, I believe. Diana's already level 6. Charles needs to be careful now because Diana's all-in is pretty scary, and Gragas is coming around. Actually, if we look at Gragas, he actually went around the back of the Baron pit and is getting really close to Gnar, but he's actually turning into Mega Gnar, so Mr. Idiot's gonna be fine. They might wait for his Mega Gnar to go down and then go all in, but Sion's at half health. What can he do? Maybe he can initiate. Seems like Gragas might go for it, yeah. Okay, so Mega Gnar is down. Are they gonna do anything here? Oh, Gragas is really coming down towards the middle lane. Can they get anything?
Gank on bot. Yeah.
Yeah, there was
just nothing really to be done there. I feel like Fib is trying to force ganks too much. He should just try to be power farming his jungle. There's just not opportunities there. You can't fit a round peg in a square hole. no matter how many times you try, and instead of trying, you should probably just be farming, and a little bit of counter jungling coming out from the Gragas.
Yeah, and he realizes that he's not getting punished for it, so he's just going for it. Whether or not
he's very out of position for his buff respawn though, but Purple team doesn't know that, so it's fun. Yeah, so as an opportunity cost to all these gank attempts out of the Nautilus, he's level 4 at the 8-minute mark, which is pretty dirty.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal right now.
You want to be at or close to 6 around that timing.
Yeah, right now Gragas is not a little less than halfway through his level 5, so he's gonna actually.
Plus, yeah, he's also gonna get. He hasn't gotten the experience from his buff respawns yet, and a little checkerboard of wards. 5 wards coming out from the red team.
Yeah, that's a lot of wards.
Yeah, that is a lot of wards.
I mean, that would have been good if they knew that Gragas was all the way in his base. Maybe they could have forced a dragon or something. Because I feel like the bottom lane has not backed. Yeah, their bottom lane actually had the advantage there. Ezreal actually had a pickaxe, and Ashe hadn't even backed. So maybe they could have forced a dragon or something. But Fib was obviously really low from his blue buff, so that's something really brutal. Ooh.
Gragas going in for the, it's got a lot of redundant warding around Dragon. They are very concerned about that for some reason.
Yeah, it would be good if they actually did something with it, but it's not. Oh, nice flash and straight.
Yeah, good flash out of Charles.
Nice.
I think that is the first window of opportunity. Probably all game, because now LeBron James does have his ultimate. He doesn't have to do that thing that he did last time where he has to flash onto the Kog'Maw to follow up on the gank. He can just use his ult, which means if Kog'Maw, which he doesn't even have his flash anymore, so they have a lot of chase potential on the Kog'Maw that they did not have previously. So Charles is going to have to play extremely careful because he is a very juicy lizard.
Yeah. What is Kog'Maw really? I don't even know what his species is.
He is a monster of the void, or the abyss, or like Kassadin is from, I believe, or Cho'Gath is to be a better example.
Isn't Kassadin actually like a human turned into a void?
Yeah. I don't know if the void or the maw or whatever I don't know if that's like the same thing, but I know Kog'Maw and Cho'Gath are related somehow.
And Kha'Zix, right? Kha'Zix has to be in there.
Kha'Zix, maybe.
It looks like one of those void things. Maybe he's from somewhere else. Alright, but getting back into the game, as we can see, Ezreal actually having a really big farm advantage on the Ashe.
Oh, wow, like, yeah, I didn't see that.
It's like really big.
That's really surprising.
I'm not sure why. Yeah, I'm not sure why Nautilus went with the challenging smite.
That's strange too. It could be good against the Diana, but I guess it only reduces damage that he takes personally, so probably not. Yeah, that's really strange.
Oh, actually, Nautilus catching Gragas out of position here. What can they do? Well, it seems like Kog'Maw actually doesn't have that much mana, so they can't capitalize on that mispositioning from Gragas.
Running himself out of mana. I feel like this is a very common mistake. I guess if he's backing, it's fine. But one of the most common mistakes that I see people make is that they run themselves like bone dry on mana and just like continue lane. Oh wow. So blue team probably gonna get the first. Oh wow. Oh, direct to camera, please.
Oh.
Oh, the Asher. barely missing on the Gnar there. That Ashe arrow would have definitely, but they just didn't have the health to follow up on that gank. That was really tight.
Yeah, definitely good kiting by now, I guess, and good boomerang. Because that would have, if that wouldn't have hit, I think they would have been able to catch up to him.
I'm really surprised that that Straight Rippen's not just trying to exploit the Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
The no flash Kog'Maw. Diana has his ult. I feel like Kog'Maw is super prime for gank. Very little he can do about it. But they don't seem to be taking advantage of that. In a way, I guess maybe they think it's too obvious, which is reasonable. It looks like Straight Rippen might be considering. Unfortunately, yeah. So red team pings that. They know exactly where Gragas is from that pink ward.
They also know that there's a ping right there, so they Nautilus might actually come and defend it, but it might be a skirmish here. Let's see what happens. Oh.
if there is a fight in the jungle, I definitely give the advantage to blue team here.
Yeah.
Diana's higher level and a stronger champion in general for skirmishing.
Well, we actually see Dengi and Dumby going in on Ash, taking a lot of damage.
You're right for the blue buff. Kog'Maw has no mana, so this could be. I think this is going to be very, very good for the blue team.
Yeah. This might be it for Kog'Maw. It seems like he's actually going to go down. That's
There's that passive.
Yeah.
Two melee champions.
Oh, here's Dengi and Dumby.
Follow up at about
hits.
Are they gonna pursue? Gragas is really low. And his teleport cancelled from Gnar. Yeah, that was really, really clean. That was very good. They definitely exploited that. The reason why that went so well is because Char runs himself just like totally. He had the blue buff, but the blue buff's only regeneration. It's not, you know, it's not infinite mana or anything. So
yeah.
He did not contribute really anything in that skirmish.
Or he contributed to some gold for the enemy team.
Top tier mid laners basically treat themselves as being out of mana when they're at 50% mana for exactly that reason. Because, you know, if skirmishes break out, you need to be able to react immediately. I mean, that's the point of having you in the mid lane, is that you have the greatest range of movement around the map to affect the most lanes.
Yeah,
so Charles is getting punished for that pretty badly.
Yeah, unless you're clearing a wave and backing immediately. Really
yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of mana. Oh, and Bard coming up here, maybe trying to make Knight Dumby's clear on that pink board. It seems like he's gonna protect it, but so far they have been able to take some good leads, but the Dragon's still untouched.
Yeah. Dragon is very risky for any of these teams. Nobody on either team is particularly great at tanking Dragon, so just starting the Dragon, especially with all of these melee champions, which can't easily pull out of the pit, would be a big risk. Unless Nautilus very underleveled, is getting completely demolished here. Expect the Gnar to go down as well.
That's a nice stun.
An Ash Arrow. The Gnar was great, but the Ash Arrow is even better.
Yeah. Is he gonna get away?
Oh, no, get away anyway. Nice.
Oh wow, that was
great. Yeah, the three-person Gnarl saved his life there.
Yeah.
And the Ash Arrow was almost enough to get him anyway, but not quite. Gnar too tanky and Mega Gnar.
Oh, it's gonna hit, but
Diana gonna all in this. I suspect.
Oh, Kog'Maw
needs to go, but okay, yeah, Kog'Maw was nice slow there. I think if Diana wasn't slowed there, I think he would have gone in on that, and I think he would have won. I definitely think that Diana is by far the best asset that either of these teams has. I think the champion pick is great, and LeBron James is playing it well. Yeah.
Oh, let's see if we can get it. Oh my goodness, Straight Rippin missing this mic. Can you believe that?
That's unfortunate. Barely misses the smite. It's at 1 health, which doesn't necessarily, which means that the most likely that the damage from, so he smited it down to like say around 30 health, and then the Cinder Hulk took the 1.
I never understood why they left it at 1.
It's so that if you wanted to pass the buff, the Cinder Hulk doesn't take it.
Yeah.
Particularly for blue buff. I passed some red buffs in my day. I think it's an underrated strategy. I think when 2 top laners and 1 top laner has a red buff, that is such a big advantage in conventional top lane matchups. There tend to be a lot more bruiser-oriented fighter, bruiser fighter type champions. Champions like Irelia, Jax, they scale really well with red buff.
Yeah. So let's see what Fib is gonna be able to do, because right now he's kind of behind. Straight Ripping is about a level ahead of him, and it doesn't seem like that gap is closing.
Yeah, the mid lane and LeBron James going in.
I think at this point it will be 2v1 because he's like 3 levels ahead of Bib and Jen.
The level advantage on the mid and the jungle for the blue team is it's a pretty big deal. Those are your 2 most important roles for the I would say early mid game. Those are your 2 most important roles by far. So having a level advantage on both is a pretty big deal. Nautilus coming in for the gank. Ashe is going. Oh man, that was a really good Bard ult. Unfortunately, Ezreal got his ult off just in time there. That Bard ult was pretty impressive.
Oh, actually, see Mr. 8 going in on Firefox here. He can't actually get close enough to trade really effectively. This is gonna.
I think the most important thing that had happened there was Diana and Kog'Maw both used their flashes.
Yeah.
And so both of them are going to be very vulnerable to ganks for the next 5 minutes. So,
let's see which jungler can capitalize better.
Yeah.
Seems like that pink ward that's been in the top lane try push is gonna finally get clear.
Blue team very concerned that purple team might be attempting a dragon there.
Looks like Ashe is just getting those arrows as fast as you can.
Have a wasted ult out of the Gragas there. Yep, I'm surprised blue team didn't attempt that blue buff invade again, because as good as it was the first time, I think it was even better now. Because now I think they had a definitive advantage in these lanes, and I suspect it would have been quite successful if they had attempted it again.
Kog'Maw's really low on mana all the time at this point.
Yeah, denying Kog'Maw blue buff is no small deal. And you see Carl's had this blue buff for about 30 seconds to a minute now, and he's still taxing his mana pretty heavily. Eric's coming in for a lane gank in bot lane.
Holy moly! If we take a look at the bottom lane, you can see the CS difference between the AD carries. It's like a 90.
Yeah, there's no. That's just honestly, that's just a difference in player skill. There's no reason it should be even close to that, because I mean they both had pretty free lanes.
That's really
that said, I mean, even with a 100 CS disadvantage, it might not necessarily matter, because if Diana can just get on the Ezreal, a dead Ezreal, doesn't matter how much CS he has, doesn't really do anything.
Oh, nice ultimate.
Janna's ult, not really helping out there, and getting a kill to stimmy that difference in bot lane.
Yeah.
I think both sides though are making the mistake of spreading themselves between the lanes unnecessarily. I would like to have seen either one of them put more emphasis on this bot lane. Blue team attempting a dragon here. Pretty reasonable attempt. Diana's got all resources available to her. Blue team even has a teleport of the Scion if needed.
Oh, I see.
Going after the seal, nice! Yeah, that should not have worked. Pretty much a disaster for the blue team. Assume Ashe is gonna go down here, yeah.
How am I getting a double kill? Is that teleport gonna go through?
Yeah, teleport, but it doesn't really matter. Yeah, that was some pretty serious misplay out of the blue team to just not pull off the dragon and kill the Nautilus first.
I mean, Kog'Maw was low on mana anyway, so I don't understand.
The dragon call I think is good, but letting just continuing to attack the dragon when Nautilus is just like floating in the
Yeah.
middle of them instead of just killing the Nautilus was
Exactly.
not the play. But yeah, I think the junglers should have put more emphasis on mid lane. I think oftentimes like inexperienced junglers have this like belief that they should, you know, like gank all lanes like evenly, and that's just not what you do. You find your most gankable lane and you exploit the hell out of it. Because not only is each gank just independently more likely to be successful, but then subsequent ganks become even more successful because people burn their summoner spells and then level disadvantages happen. So good junglers will typically put emphasis on single lanes, not really just, you know, oh, I haven't been top in the last 5 minutes, I guess I should, you know, check it off my to-do list. And I think both sides could have exploited this mid lane by far, and neither side really seemed to have.
Yeah, they don't seem to have exploited it.
That's just my opinion. I mean, people have different styles, but
oh, look at that.
I find that putting emphasis on Ezreal going in for the sneaky bush flight. Wow, just melts the ash. That was cheeky.
Yeah, that is also like one rotation kill.
Oh yeah, because I mean he can initiate with the ult and then get the Trinity Force proc. He had a big timing with his item advantage, but also just having Bard trying to 1v2 defend the turret. Cost him his flash. Must have just let that go.
Seems like that is gonna be it for this turret at least. Are they gonna make the CS die? Or are they just gonna take it? It seems like they might just take it.
Yeah, I don't think that they're partial one way or the other there.
Oh wow, I feel like Kog'Maw just got to lane and he's like already so low on mana.
That's the mid lane Kog'Maw.
He does have blue though.
This mid turret's actually gotten quite low. Now, unfortunately, I feel like Diana's advantage over the Kog'Maw is going to be stymied with the ability of the purple team's bot lane to assist in the disadvantage, and Firefox going in for an ult. Really good ult, actually.
Ooh,
that really good initiation we were talking about at Champion Select, definitely coming into play there. And that was just recklessness on the purple team side. They have to respect this initiation. I mean, they have 4 hard engage champions, plus a follow-up assassin on Diana. You don't get more engaged than that. The Rippin going in for a little bit of a dive.
Oh, can he actually...
Very nearly getting punished for it, but unfortunately survives. And LeBron James going incredibly deep. Also barely surviving there.
Definitely.
And we have a pause. Yeah, so we're seeing a kind of weakness that I am just now realizing about the blue team's team composition is their ability to siege is actually incredibly poor. They have 4 melee champions. Well, I guess Bard's not really a melee champion, but doesn't really contribute much to a siege in general. They have 3 melee champions with mediocre to non-existent poke. Diana and Gragas have some poke, but it typically requires a misplay. Plus, their only real source of serious range damage is this Ashe, who's, I mean, severely underfed.
Yeah.
So I think that in the future, this disadvantage in sieging might get the better of the blue team.
Yeah, it depends if they don't get a pick first, so that there's a possibility for a dive, because Bard's really good at diving turrets.
Oh yeah. But that's the risk that they're gonna have to take. So you saw what they tried to do there. Both Gragas and Diana went in for a dive, very nearly got punished for it, despite having a clean 2-person advantage when they went to siege mid.
Yeah, hopefully they can pull it off, and if not, maybe we'll see a comeback from the purple team. But it really depends if they can land those skill shots, because I feel like there's a lot of like skill shot dependent on their damage from the purple team. Also the.
Yeah. I don't even think it's necessarily a comeback so much. I think this game is still quite even. I mean, both sides have clear advantages. I think the Diana is outclassing the Kog'Maw, but the Ezreal is severely outclassing the Ashe. And so it's going to come down to whether or not they can protect their key players.
Indeed, so we'll see how it goes. So a pause feels like it seems like Ezreal actually has been disconnected, but it seems like we're gonna get back into the game.
Dragon respawn in a minute and a half. I think will be a huge point of contention for both sides.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Even though blue has a slight gold advantage, red got the first dragon, and that advantage in increased ability power and attack damage is gonna pronounce itself quite a bit when you have 2 champions that basically produce raw damage output in Kog'Maw and Ezreal. The buff scales, but when you're talking about sort of utility champions, utility soul laners, somebody like Lissandra, they don't necessarily scale with a percentage damage increase as well as champions that just put out raw damage output, which is what the blue team or what the purple team has.
Yeah, that's true. We'll see if the purple team can actually keep denying those dragons. At least will help the blue team a little bit more if they can get that first one. But it's all up to the purple team here. If Fib can maybe just walk in there and steal the dragon like last time.
I still
yeah.
I give the edge to the purple team on this fight. I think as long as Janna saves her ult for the Diana, there's not going to be a lot that blue can do to team fight very effectively.
Yeah, we're also gonna see if Bart can land that ultimate, because if he can maybe land it on a critical target like
of course.
Or, yeah.
Purple team has all types of ways of sort of messing up if they're not careful against this initiation. And not just the Bard, the Gragas and the Ashe as well.
Yeah.
Even the Sion to some extent. Sion initiated that last game, or that last team fight pretty effectively.
Yeah, it'll depend. Let's see where the blue team goes. Actually, it seems like they're gonna be looking for a rotation towards the mid lane. Okay, well they have the position advantage.
This is a big decision for purple teams. They're gonna opt to defend the turret instead of taking what was essentially a free dragon. I think it's correct. Huge gnarl.
Fortunately, really nobody was able to capitalize.
Yeah, the purple team turret goes down. It's very chaotic. Kog'Maw and Ezreal in great position though, even though they're taking a jungle. The blue team looks like they're pulling out. Diana exhausted. Diana go down here. Diana, Diana went back in and got punished for it.
Yeah, I feel like that ultimate was really good at the lane. It could have been better, but
well, I think the Gnarl was great. Yeah. I think the how spread out that team fight was, even though it was sort of like in the lane jungle, like you saw that the Gragas ult didn't really do anything. The space advantage that they chose that team fight in definitely favored the purple team. Kog'Maw and Ezreal were more or less free to just unload the entire time.
They definitely were.
And not only that, had Diana tried to assassinate them while they were in that position, it would have they would have had 3 different escape routes. And purple team getting a free dragon. And the gold disparity more or less non-existent at this point.
Yeah, and I don't think that's really good for the blue team. They get denied another dragon, and we'll see, because I feel like if the purple team gets a third dragon, they're just gonna have the movement speed buff, which is gonna be really, really good for them. Meaning that they might be able to run away from those like critical mistakes.
Oh yeah, with Janna passive too.
Yeah, it'll be really, really strong. In my opinion.
Particularly for the Ezreal.
Yeah.
And I think Ezreal is going to be their highest damage output in team fights for a while.
Yeah, I think maybe until we get to a hyper late game where Fogg has like that level 16 range. Oh, actually he's gonna have it in a few bits, but before he can get that maybe that death cap, he might not be doing as much damage as Ezreal, especially since Ezreal is just so far ahead.
Blue team losing those early dragons is actually a really big disadvantage for them, because one of their best ways of winning this game, I guess I'll continue this thought. Yeah, one of their best ways of winning this game was actually through forcing 5 dragons, because so you look at their siege potential, they don't really have any. So they're going to have a hard time sieging turrets. They're going to have a hard time contesting Baron because they don't really have a good way of pulling out of the Baron pit. And so Blue team's best way of winning this game, late game, was actually just to snowball into 5 dragons.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've been denied 2 means that the earliest that they could even potentially do that at this point is the 1 hour mark. So it's like essentially non-existent. So by securing those 2 early dragons, it's not just the buff that the purple team is getting, it's the fact that they're denying, I think, blue team's easiest path to a late game victory.
Yeah.
Because it is much, much riskier to contest a Baron than it is to contest a dragon.
Yeah. And especially since we're seeing that the blue team is doing relatively, the purple team is doing relatively well at pushing out their lanes. They're not doing that bad, and it seems like Charles' mana problems have been fixed. He's keeping up with mana.
Oh well, I mean, yeah, he finished Seraph, he has
like
an Athene's, or not an Athene's, but a Grail. So yeah, that timing when we talk about mana is problematic. It's more or less past. I think from blue team's perspective at this point, the best thing that they can do is to try to secure the Baron pit provision. Lots of pink wards, sweepers, and more or less force the purple team to come base check into their initiation at this point, because the dragon ship has sailed. I don't think dragon is a realistic win condition for the blue team anymore.
Yeah, it's just too far away from them, and even if they get that first dragon and deny that third dragon from them, it's just not going to be enough. It won't benefit them as much. Still, here we go. Purple team actually is relatively good at sieging turrets with that Ezreal and that Kog'Maw.
Oh yeah, their siege is just S tier with Kog'Maw, Ezreal. Yeah. Just insane poke. I'm surprised blue team's even honestly trying to defend this. I feel like this can only end badly, especially with their ADC not there.
Yeah, I don't know what
Ashe, I think at this point should just be split pushing what is essentially a free turret and bot lane to even up the turret score, because purple team has all 5 people here, but Ashe is trying to rotate up top. It's most likely going to be too late. This isn't a fight that blue wants to engage in anyway, but they're going for the arrow, so it's the Kog'Maw or another. Yeah, that was a serious. Oh, wow! Look on Shades going straight in on the Janna.
Oh, that Gnar ultimate was really good on Zagreb and Diana. Holy moly, Diana making the
Yeah, the
plays.
Diana's playing this pretty sick. The blue team is very low. despite Diana getting 2 free kills, looks like Purple Team's gonna clean up. Sion is gonna continue to fight. Kog'Maw completely out of mana, but with the help of Nara, I don't think it doesn't really matter. So after all the dust is settled, 3 for 2, both kills going to the pretty much credit goes entirely to the Diana.
Yeah, definitely. I think LeBron James really making a play there. If you wouldn't have gone all in on Janna and made that play, I think they would have come out maybe like 4 for 1 at best.
Yeah, I mean that was a good Diana play. Ultimately, they lost the fight anyway, but
yeah.
I think it stems from the fact that this was just a severe misjudgment out of the blue team. They should have just let Ashe keep pushing, catch up and farm, do some damage to that turret. Probably would have gotten the turret in actuality because the purple team had kept all 5 players there with seemingly no intention of pulling back, and they just let the top outer fall, but they get, you know, bottom inner. That's a great trade, especially when they're getting 2 lanes of farm and purple team's only getting 1 lane of farm. There was nothing bad about blue team's position there. The blue team, red team taking the dragon, blue team possibly going in for a Baron. I would love for them to try Baron here. I think it would have
definitely.
But now it's too late. That's something you had to have done decisively.
Yeah, it was. They were wondering where the purple team were, but it seems like they just were a little bit hesitant.
Yeah, they should have known. I think a Baron attempt there would have been.
They're trying to fanatic push them.
Yeah, but they're trying to do that when purple has not Scuttle. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, they can't see in the pit, so they are trying to set up the.
Oh, Dangy, where did he go? Holy moly, Diana going really ham on him. Oof. Almost getting caught with that Zarya.
That Ezreal pick would have been phenomenal. Without Ezreal, I think the purple team just kind of melts. Blue team now making an earnest effort at this Baron.
Can they survive the poke though? The question.
Really risky. Nara's in bot lane, but he does have his teleport. Surprised he's not already teleporting.
Yeah, he should have been teleporting.
There's nowhere to teleport to. Yeah. They should have had a ward down. Blue team's gonna get the Baron. Blue team does get the Baron. The Gnarl. Oh, that Gnarl. It actually looked okay for the blue team, and then that Gnarl happened.
Oh god. This is why Nara is the best top laner in teamfights now.
Still, I think blue team came out ahead on that. It was a 3 for 1 actually, in red team's favor, but they got a Baron buff.
Yeah. Well,
which is almost like an ace. In terms of value, they keep Baron on 2 people, which will help help shore up their seed weaknesses. Wow, Ezreal getting caught out a little bit there. Looks like he's fine. Combination of the whatever that's called, the thing that supports build that heal people.
The Mikhails.
What is it called? Mikhails.
Yeah. Oh, what's that?
But, blue team with Baron on Gragas and Bard should try to capitalize on this mid lane. Get an inhibitor down, because once you get 1 inhibitor down, it just becomes so much easier to assert yourself on the map.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll see what they can do here because the purple team still has the range advantage. So it depends if they can get a good initiation and if they don't get 4-man Gnar ulted like they did in that last fight.
Yeah, I think, but I think the blue team has to take advantage of every opportunity they can get. I do not think blue team's prospects as this game progresses are good.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they're not going in. They saw Gnar in the top lane. They should have probably tried to make something. I know LeBron.
Yeah, Gnar down his teleport.
Yeah.
They should definitely be pushing this in harder, taking advantage of those Baroned up minions. Getting this mid inhibitor down for blue team would be huge, and I think essential. If they don't get this down, they're not. And they're going into the initiation. Purple team overextended quite a bit there.
Yeah, that was a misplay. Oh, and a
Great
nice
Arnold.
oh.
That was
Oh,
and a good follow-up too.
I think that's gonna be it for Cosmo.
Doing what he does. And this should be in his Scion DC.
Oh, with Baronies. So that's why Nar is taking that inhibitor in.
Yeah, so they're trading inhibitors. This is not worth at all.
I think that would have been okay if Zion was there, but
But Ezreal managing to defend the inhibitor by himself, that's quite impressive. Neither team got the inhibitor. I don't know if they recalled or if he had respawned, but I'm surprised blue team wasn't able to finish off the inhib, given their numbers advantage. But yeah, that trade that Nar made, totally 100% not worth. The blue team can easily get inhibitor turrets down. Blue team cannot, and so trading inhibitor turrets is not an even trade at all.
Yeah, the purple team definitely has to get a turret behind them so that they can get a little bit more protection.
And that's not that inhibitor turret's not coming back. That inhibitor is exposed for the rest of the game, and it's exposed in a shorter lane too. That means there's more likely to be minion support sieging purple team's inhibitor than there is blue team's inhibitor. So totally not worth, and that's exactly what blue team needed. Because if blue team didn't get that inhibitor turret down there, I do not think they would have a chance in this game.
Yeah, definitely their chance increases, but still gonna be a little bit tricky here.
I still think, yeah, I still think purple is advantaged here, but easily able to lose that advantage if they get reckless with those initiations. They have to respect those initiations. You saw why that fight went so badly is because they abandoned their inhibitor turret, which was keeping them safe, to go kill a cannon minion with like 3 people, and that's all it took for them to like just get completely stomped.
Yeah, I also feel like the Nar winning top lane is not a good. Oh wow, that's a really good product if only do it in. Oh wow, that's interesting.
Nautilus, very susceptible here.
Oh, this fight is pretty much over, I think.
Bartle's
holy
great.
What a great Nar ultimate so far. Ooh.
Yeah, I kind of disagree. I think the Nautilus or the Gragasol was actually bad. It hit everybody, but it didn't matter because the only person that got isolated from it was the Nautilus.
Yeah, well, yeah, I thought it would have been enough, but it seems like I feel like it would have been enough if they could just have let the Nautilus reuse, because basically what happened was they just wasted all their ultimates in a tanky Nautilus, right? So and he didn't go down.
I think the Gragas ult is much more valuable as a displacement tool than an actual source of damage. Wow, that cooldown quite short. And Gragas kind of getting picked off here. Oh, is he gonna get away? Probably not. Definitely not. But yeah, so the even though the Gragas ult hit everybody, it doesn't really matter. They need to isolate one of the squishier targets with it. They need to get the Kog'Maw or the Ezreal isolated, or even the Janna. Both sides giving away kills here.
Yeah.
And he is going to take a magical journey to his eventual demise.
Yeah, but as we can see here, there's actually 3 people down on the blue team, so they might actually go for the Baron. Actually, never mind.
Baron's like, in 10 seconds, but I don't think either side is capable of taking it. Yeah, but they can still establish vision control, which is it looked like Fib was attempting to do.
Unfortunately, he was alone, so
yeah, he could not stand toe-to-toe with Diana at all. Diana just an absolute monster in skirmishing. 2v2s, 1v1s, that's Diana's specialty.
And then they're gonna get the scuttle crab. Nice and easy. So, in the middle lane, we see Gragas just clearing up that wave, while Charles stays back and tries to CS with his ultimate.
Red team, or purple team, by the way, is threatening 5 dragons here. They have 4
Yeah.
dragons now.
I feel like
blue team going for a gamble on this Baron with Cosmo bottom, yeah.
I'm not sure what Cosmo was really doing bottom.
Yeah, that was
Gnarled.
Diana getting picked off though, that is huge. If blue team gets the Baron, despite not all having reasonable skill potential there.
Yeah, they all
and that was important. Ash probably gonna go down here. Yeah, no real need to heal. You're dead, friend.
There's a big minion wave here in the top lane, so they might be able to get this inhibitor.
Oh yeah, they're definitely getting the inhibitor. There's no question about that. The question is whether or not they can end the game.
Yeah.
I think they should try.
Yeah.
I think the damage output without Diana is essentially non-existent, and they are going to go for it.
Yeah, they probably should, especially since Vitals and it's not up anymore. They can't really do anything. Just stalled them.
Look at Scion knock up to hold this.
There goes an ultimate, and actually they're gonna try to take down Scion here. Reversing him.
Scion's gonna go down. Ezreal continuing to plug away the turret. Janna taking the turret to her demise, but it'll be worth it to get the Nexus. Kog'Maw doing unreal damage to the Nexus, and that'll be it. Diana's not gonna be up in time.
Yeah, that's gonna be game.
That pick on LeBron James was pretty devastating. Blue team probably should have just went for the open inhibitor instead of risking it on the Baron. The Baron play was pretty risky. Not that they should be averse to taking risks from the position they were in, but see the damage difference is pretty disgusting. This Ezreal and Kog'Maw putting out triple the damage of most everybody else on the blue team. So, yeah, I mean, given the circumstances, I mean, blue team held their own reasonably well, but I mean, the difference in carry damage output was just way too high.
Yeah, especially since they gave up those dragons, it just gave the Kog'Maw and the Ezreal way too much power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
But holy moly, that was actually a pretty interesting game. I feel like the blue team unfortunately could not force enough engages as in 5v5 when they had the strength of Diana.
Yeah, I would like to have seen blue team play more aggressively in the early mid game when Diana had the advantage over the Kog'Maw. More dragon contesting, more invading, looking for more skirmishes, and I mean, overall, I think both sides had one significantly advantaged lane. I think Diana was significantly advantaged over Kog'Maw, and I think Ezreal was significantly advantaged over Ashe. And by not necessarily taking advantage of their power spike, because those are advantages that materialize at different points in the game. A difference in an AD carry becomes relevant in the late game. The difference in a mid laner becomes relevant in the mid-early game. And it definitely seemed like purple team did more with their lane advantage than the blue team did. Still a pretty good game despite the what the damage graph would suggest. I think the game was closer than it would indicate. I think either side could have made a couple of decisions on a macro scale and pulled out a win there. Plus raw damage output doesn't account for the fact that assassination damage. And
yeah, I feel like especially those split pushes that the purple team was doing every now and then were a little bit questionable, and they could have focused more and engaged a lot harder when they had the numbers advantage.
Oh yeah, for sure. So do you know when the next game is?
I am not quite sure. Let me ask.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Let me ask Doug. Hmm. Okay, so we're actually waiting for two more games to finish. The
Okay.
next round, next round, it might be in like 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Let me ask exactly. So, yeah, it should be about 10 minutes because that's when they should be able to get those games over. So I think we can have a 10-minute break. I need to refill my water bottle here and pick out something to snack on.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. Sorry that took so long.
Well, welcome back.
Are we ready?
Would appear so.
Awesome. So let's get into this game. So what do you think? Are you thinking maybe 380 carry bans? I wouldn't think that would be effective even if that was the case.
Yeah, I spoke about that the last time. I think banning out 80 carries is mostly just a total waste.
Hmm?
Put emphasis on more specialized players because all the 80 carries essentially play out the same. You know, it might be a slight difference, but a 5% damage difference in the output of an 80 carry is far less likely to matter than just putting emphasis on a different lane and appropriating the bans accordingly.
So we might see maybe a ban towards Merrimack or maybe towards the Arab one.
The only
Because I know them personally and I know Merrimack only plays Netherly mostly, and the Arab one is on the top. I believe it's on top Maokai or something like that. He plays only a top laner, Aurelia as well. So those are the main champions that he picks. What do you think? Do you know any of these players?
I know Muffin.
Yeah.
Other than that, I haven't played with Dorlexa in a while, so I don't know what his current champion pool is. I think he used to play a lot of Lux, so I think maybe the Lux ban is directed at him, but he might not even be mid laning. I'm not even sure. I'm not sure what the role assignments are here. But aside from, and so yeah, we just see the Nidalee ban coming out. But aside from Muffin, I have not really played with anybody else in this game much at all. Obviously, Muffin is fairly beastly.
Yeah.
Um,
Warrior is actually pretty strong too.
yeah, that's what I've heard. I would like to see maybe a lane rotation, um, a lane swap
Mhm.
coming out from blue team to try to stimmy the advantage that Muffin's lane is most likely going to have. And first pick jungle into another first pick jungle. Sejuani, Rek'Sai. Have not
I,
seen Sejuani since she's fallen out of flavor. Not sure if she is.
I don't think she's worthy of a first pick. Especially since this new patch. I just don't think she's that great anymore. I feel like Rek'Sai and maybe Evelyn and well, well, Nidalee's banned, but Nidalee's can be kind of strong anyways, just that capitalizing on mistakes. Um, she can be good.
Oh yeah. Um, then again, maybe they're trying to just pick their jungle support early to give their solo lanes more information.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they picked the Rek'Sai though. Unless it's like a Rek'Sai top, I don't think it's worth picking a Rek'Sai because you already know that the blue team is actually going to
Well, that's just
excuse
it.
me.
Well, yeah. So if they're trying to take advantage of their later picks, they want perfect information to see what they're playing against, and I think it's fine
Yeah.
to just mirror the role of whatever the blue team picks, because the blue team gets the advantage of picking their champion first, but that advantage is also a disadvantage in the sense that it gives the purple team perfect information. So
Yeah.
uh, picking corresponding picks, I think, is completely reasonable. And a very AP heavy composition coming out of the purple team here.
Yeah,
A
that's
very
really.
squishy and AP heavy team composition, which isn't to say it's bad. It's just that it's squishy and AP heavy, and so it's a risk that's a very powerful composition. Although Oh, okay, so they're switching to the Jax. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that the Vladimir really contributes a lot because to really take advantage of the Vladimir, you really want to have a lot of AOE to amplify the damage from Hemoplague.
Yeah.
And so when you just have a bunch of assassins, Hemoplague's like okay, but it's not nearly as useful as more AOE centric compositions.
Well, I guess Jax is okay. I'm not quite sure if it would be the best top laner to play in this specific instance. Maybe against Cho'Gath it's meh. I mean, Cho'Gath will sustain, but I guess Jax outscales him. Excuse me, relatively one-sidedly once you get into the later of the
Is
game.
is the
Jax,
is the buff
yeah,
to Jax ultimate, is that live yet?
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Jax is a little bit stronger now with his ultimate.
Won't
So we see
really
where's your sin?
won't
Oh,
really help against the true damage of Cho'Gath, but
yeah.
yeah, one of my guilty pleasures is Hashinshin stream, and he has been playing a lot of Jax recently. Seems to be pretty insistent that it's a good pick right now. I
Against the Bard and Syndra. Oh, Callista. Yeah. I was gonna say, where's your AD carry? Oh. But you definitely can't give Callista to Muffin, because Muffin is just a beast, and if you give Muffin already a lane dominant champion to a lane dominant player, then it's gonna be really, really difficult to do anything there.
I like purple scene composition here. I The thing that I don't like about the blue team is the support pick. From the blue team's
Ah,
perspective, if they assume that Muffin is most likely going to win his lane, and I think it would be, I mean, basically, you would be blind not to acknowledge the fact that you're at a disadvantage in that lane. And
yeah.
so if they acknowledge that, then what they should be doing is probably trying more unconventional lane matchups where either they um a rotation, say two people in top lane or whatever, and then just hoping that uh they can have a 1v2 lane, because 1v2 lanes, ironically enough, are actually easier to play than 2v2 lanes. Typically because the 1v2 lane is usually being pushed into turret, unless unless the 2v1 lane is freezing really well. If they are freezing really well, then you can just go jungle. If they're not freezing, then you're being pushed to turret, and it turns out a turret is really powerful. So you should ban these advertisers, by the way, in the channel, or give me mods so I could do it.
Oh, you don't have mod?
No,
Oh, I thought you did.
no,
I'll
no.
give you mod,
Okay,
and
okay.
I'll ban them as well. But
Yeah. Anyway, so
just type something in the chat real quick so I can mod you.
so
There we go. All
if they
right.
do a rotation, having the advantage of having the protection of a turret pretty much means that no matter how good Muffin is mechanically or how dominant they would expect the lane to be, it's not going to matter. Because, I mean, turrets are just way too powerful early game.
Yeah.
Except for maybe, like, if they coordinate a really good three-person dive, they could punish that. But from Blue Team's perspective, they should be looking to make a lane swap. And given that they do, I think Leona is actually one of the worst conventional supports you could pick to supplement that, because Leona thrives in 2v2 situations because she's very all-any. Her power level with her CC is very high, but the trade-off to that power is that she's extremely risky. You can't just initiate on as Leona and just be like, "Oh, JK, never mind," and just like walk
Yeah.
out. Like, you
Yeah.
have to be confident you're going to win the trade. And so because of that, Leona does best in 2v2 lanes, because if they're playing in a 2v1 lane, she doesn't really add anything to into a 2v1 lane, because she has no poke to harass under turret. She has no range to attack the turret herself. So she doesn't really add anything to a 2v1 lane. So if you're picking Leona, you're picking it most likely to try to get a 2v2 lane, but you should realize that you're going to lose the 2v2 lane anyway, so
Yeah.
uh,
Considering it's a Morgana and Muffin is his skill level is way above his competition, as we can obviously see here. Now, do you think that maybe maybe the Lucian was an okay pick here because I don't know. I feel
I
like self peel was good, but I may like this is my personal bias, but I think that a Sivir would have been better here because of the movement speed, and not only that because I feel like um Sivir, while she's not as self peely as Lucian, she still can be relatively self peeled by the fact that she has her spell shield and the movement speed
Spell
on
Shield's
her
definitely good
own.
against Leona.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think it really matters. I think a Sivir would have. I think all the AD carries are so interchangeable, um, that it doesn't necessarily matter which one Muffin picks. I mean, I think you're right. I think a Sivir pick would have been fine. The only issue with relying on Spell Shield against a composition with Sejuani and Leona is that oftentimes their initiations are so fast that unless you have like just absolute like laser focused attention, it's very easy to get picked by something like a Leona ult anyway. Just because those abilities trigger so quickly. So relying on just the spell shield would have been dicey, and Lucian's just all around like with his dash is just kind of like just in general easier to play safe with.
Yeah, I understand now. It's just my personal bias that I pick Sivir
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
no, I
just
mean
because.
it's fine. There's nothing there. It's like this. I mean, you just acknowledge that. I mean, most AD carries have very similar play styles. It's not like mid lane where different champions can do just
Yeah.
drastically different things, and so it's just whatever tickles your fancy.
um, so I'm not sure why they let Warrior have Syndra, but that's his most comfortable champion. We'll see what he can do in the mid lane here.
I have not seen a lot of Syndra played since the nerf, however long ago that was, almost last season. She was really once they toned down her lane bullying a little bit. It really did a lot to shut down the usefulness of the champion because her late game scaling is like mediocre, but her lane bullying was like really high. It still kind of is, especially against a Diana. I expect Weirdeer to be pretty dominant in mid lane. At least until Diana is level 6.
Yeah. Well, let's see. What do you think about this top lane Cho'Gath against Jax? Do you feel like they're just gonna farm, or?
I suspect it will be jungler dependent. I don't think either one should die to the other because even Jax has the initiation potential with his leap stun combo, but Cho'Gath has the perfect disengage to that to just Q on top of himself, and that
I like, yeah, but I like the setup from Rek'Sai and Jax though, where he can basically the leap and stun and then into Rek'Sai knockoff. I feel like that'd be really strong if they can get that going.
oh yeah, they that's a highly gankable lane. So I think it's gonna be more dependent on the moves of the jungler, to see which way top lane goes, than it is top lane itself, because neither side should die to the other. As long as Cho'Gath saves his Q to disengage the Jax, and as long as Jax doesn't take too much harassment from, I don't know, like Cho'Gath W or something.
So I've seen Asian problems, and he doesn't. From the times I've played with her and she's played Kalista, I feel like she's always mispositioning sometimes and using way too much mana on the Kalista. That's just my personal observation. Because Kallista's E actually, whenever you kill a target with her E, with her Rend, it gives you 20 mana back.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, but if you keep using it, the actual ability costs 40 mana. But if you keep using it and you don't kill two targets at the same time, you're literally losing like 20 mana every time. And if you're proccing it too often, then you're gonna run out of mana really fast.
And plus, it's a high skill cap champion.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like
Definitely.
Muffin's going in. It looks like he was going to go in for a push early on, but apparently changed his mind. Actually, I think he just wanted to line up the CS so that the CS didn't all die at the same time, which is smart. That's actually a nice little last hitting trick part of the art of last hitting is not just literal last hitting, but also setting up your last hits so that, say he has only 1 auto attack cycle, but 3 minions are about to die, he'll lose out on 2 CS if he doesn't attack some of them down at first. So that's a neat little move.
Well, they actually hit level 2 at the same time here, but Rek'Sai is hanging around, and is he gonna take the Scuttle Crab? Yeah.
I really don't like that. I think that impairs your jungle clear pretty heavily for very little advantage. It's not like they're gonna take Dragon at the 3-minute 30-second mark.
Yeah.
Sejuani might be having enough trouble with a red buff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking.
But maybe he just wants to have something to do until his smite comes back at the second smite cooldown. Because he figures he needs it for red. But then, yeah, I mean, I guess it's reasonable.
Yeah, I do like, actually, what I don't like is I like not smiting red and smiting Razorbeaks instead, and then go towards top lane so that I can clear the wards as well as get some pressure up there. Whenever there's a highly gankable lane like Cho'Gath.
Wraith Camp is an awesome smite buff. This I think, is the best one. Since they nerfed Gromp buff, I think keeping the stealth, the ward detection buff is a really unconventional game coming out of the Rek'Sai. This would be pretty good. I mean, Cho'Gath should just flash here.
Is he gonna get away?
Wow. I'm kind of confused why said it in,
Was that maybe a little too much? Too deep?
I think that setup was really good. I like the Rek'Sai just didn't seem to know how to follow up on it. Like, I think what the Rek'Sai should have done is almost stayed put and then left the Cho'Gath with nowhere to go and forced the Cho'Gath to run to him. And I think that would have given them the extra couple auto attacks that would have finished Cho'Gath off. But as far as that lane, that route into the lane, that was pretty sexy.
Yeah. So far, actually we can already see the lane dominance that Syndra puts on the lane. If we take a look at the CS advantage, she's 10 CS, about maybe not that much, 6 CS. So it's not that big, but I would actually expect Syndra to be a little bit more oppressive and try to.
Oh wow, she stops us back. Oh, that would have been big. Oh, Diana canceled her back. She would have had it, I think.
Yeah.
I think she was good there, and now I think she's gonna have a hard time sticking in this lane. With that health disadvantage.
Oh, Kalista taking a lot of damage from that Q illusion.
I'm surprised there's not more auto attack browsing coming out of weirder here. There's several auto attack cycles there on the Diana. And now Diana should be able to get back. Which is really good. This is really good back timing. And Muffin kind of pushing in. Kalista lost a lot of her health somehow. Most likely got Morgana binded. Speaking of the Morgana bind, yeah, that's... They had to keep a ward in that bush. And Rek'Sai coming in for the gank on gets the heal, doesn't get the flash. Both players on the blue team bot line still have their flash, which is a pretty big deal. Yeah, they need to keep this bush warded.
I'm not sure if you wanted to trade that Rek'Sai knockup flash for a heal. I don't think that was very...
No, that trade was definitely not worth. But I mean, Kalista's gonna have to back here, and when she does, with the wave position the way it is, it's not gonna... He's gonna lose some CS, but Sejuani coming in for the gank, which is perfect, because even if this gank doesn't work, which it looks like it's not going to, at least it pushes the lane back out. Oh wow, Rek'Sai coming in for the counter gank. This counter gank is gonna be big trouble for blue. They chased that way too far. Almost getting the triple kill, yeah. So the Sejuani gank was good. Chasing it to the turret was not. All they needed to do was set up the back for Kalista, and instead they they pretty much primed themselves for that counter gank. Even knowing Rek'Sai was in the area, pretty big misplay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why low health Kalista. I'm not sure why they chased with that low health on Kalista. It was definitely questionable.
Well, it was that, but also just the champions were stronger. Like Rek'Sai is a much better duelist than Sejuani, so the counter gank, just not respecting the counter gank.
Seems like Warrior got a kill in the mid lane actually.
Oh wow, yeah, I missed that. Oh right, okay. Fix the
blue buff is handed over to Warrior right here. So he's gonna go back to lane and assert more dominance onto that Diana. Let's see if Diana gets blue buff from the Rek'Sai.
Oh. There we go.
So, CS lead is already showing in the bottom lane. About 20 CS now. After Lucian over Kalista.
Yeah, after that gank, Muffin shoves an entire wave.
Yeah, and they first the lane too, so that's gonna be really rough.
Yeah.
This is really bad for Kalista.
It definitely is. It's hard to overstate what a mistake this Leona pick was, honestly. I mean, at this point, I think Leona's best play is almost to just start roaming and trying to snowball mid. Or start coming in for a gank. Really good Leona disengage there. But is the bind gonna land is the question.
Oh.
Does not. Gets away with the Kalista get out of jail free card.
That ultimate is so OP, dude.
It's pretty good. It is good with Leona. That is some pretty awesome initiation. But I mean, they're gonna take Dragon off of this most likely, which is completely great because Kalista's stuck last hitting under turret. Leona is back, so this should be a pretty free Dragon for purple team.
Yeah, as long as they can get the snipe right. I mean, Sejuani's not even there actually.
Yeah.
First Dragon and about 1,000 gold for the purple team here.
So Sejuani also pretty low at the beginning of that. I don't know if purple team necessarily knew that. It would have been a good Dragon call regardless, but yeah, I think Sejuani is really showing a lot of inexperience in the jungle. So you tell like she didn't like know how to route plan, like she was gonna go to Gromp and then like realized the red buff was respawning and stuff. Yeah. That's just stuff you learn after however many games. But.
Oh, Sejuani backing now. Is she she's still level 5. Holy moly.
Yeah. She lost a lot of time after that gank and just been pretty inefficient in her clear in general, so.
That's some rough stuff here. I don't know, the only thing that they have good going for them here is Warrior in the mid lane.
Yeah, Warrior has quite a weight.
Oh, that binding lands.
That's why I think Leona should just abandon the bot lane and then just start trying to gank mid. Or even top. Top's also quite gankable.
Yeah,
they need to be emphasizing their solo lanes, and he's not. He's going back bottom again, which is not going to end well. They can't even win this 2v3 or 3v2. Like he could get the ult off, and they would still lose 3v2, I suspect.
Yeah, definitely. And it seems like Cho'Gath and Jax are just dueling in the top lane, and I really feel like a Sejuani coming in, especially with the fact that Jax is just playing that aggressively, and you know, he could be punished, considering he has almost no warding.
Yeah. This is like almost the opposite of what you do. You do not assist your losing lanes. You abandon your losing lanes and you emphasize your winnable lanes. And I think in actuality, both blue solo lanes are totally winnable. And as good as Muffin is, if their solo lanes are just getting dumpstered, it's not going to matter. But they're not allocating the resources, and again, Sejuani's coming. I think if Sejuani tries to go for this gank, he is going to get 2v3'd, and actually, Rek'Sai here on a ward for the counter gank. Kind of unnecessary, yeah.
I think that with this information, Sejuani should like rally up towards top. I mean, yeah, Rek'Sai ultimate is there, but still.
I think Rek'Sai just ulted. Yeah, Rek'Sai's ulted. Yeah,
Even more option. At this point, I think Sejuani's just like completely like.
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing here. They know that the counter gank is set up, which is great information for them, but Sejuani's just like lurking anyway. It's kind of weird. I think that they were hoping that they were gonna dive, but I don't think that was Rek'Sai's intention. I think Rek'Sai was there for the counter gank, and both junglers just standing by, just like waiting for the other to move first.
Yeah. Like a lot of time lost right now. Holy moly, that was a lot of time.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, at least
We're getting pushed out of lane a little bit here.
Yeah,
making a very risky decision to stay here. I'm surprised that Doylexa is letting him get away with this. Yeah, I think Doylexa could have zoned him off all of that CS.
Yeah, he could have even died because she had flash. Worst case scenario.
Oh yeah, like Weirdeer's still staying. Wow, this is this is insanely greedy. But it paid off. He got like an extra 2 waves of CS that he honestly should not have. So I mean,
okay, well, I'm really not sure. We could like count how many times Sejuani could have gone up top lane and just.
Oh yeah, you see how these lanes are pushing. They're in each other's faces. They're pushed up, each side pushing back into the other. Like the ebb and flow of the lane, just like constantly giving opportunities to both junglers. Neither one really taking advantage of it. And a bot lane turret gonna fall here. Muffin denying as much CS as he can, even though the cannon minion is gonna pretty much tank it until they did not get the. Oh, okay. I don't know if he got the last hit bonus from that turret.
You just have to be in the area.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Do you?
Yeah, you only have to be in the area.
Okay.
Let's see if we got the local gold. Oh, we see the era one coming in and maybe trying to figure out where Sejuani is, but well, at least finally they realize where to focus, you know?
Yeah. Sejuani taking a very risky attempt at taking a scuttle here. Like if Rek'Sai just popped out here, I feel like Sejuani would be in a lot of trouble. It would definitely get her ult, if not her flash. Rek'Sai again going for that lane gank. Cho'Gath really tanky. Cho'Gath flashing out, but that Q is going to be big trouble. Oh, but the Sejuani missed the ult!
Not just that, as you can see, Sejuani's severely under leveled. She's like level 7 to Rek'Sai's level 9. That's insane.
Really good rotation from Weirdeer there.
Yeah. And Muffin now at a 70 CS. Holy moly, that's insane.
Yeah. I mean, what is there to be said? I mean, part of the skill in this game at any level of play, including LCS level of play, is acknowledging the skill discrepancy in your lanes and reacting accordingly. It's important in solo queue because in solo queue people are filling all the time. They're often at a disadvantage. for their lane opponent. Even in totally well match-made games, there'd be big discrepancies in skill in certain lanes, and exploiting those and acknowledging them in your own team composition is an important skill in League of Legends. And not acknowledging that and just putting blinders on and pretending that every lane is equal is just not good play. And that's what Blue Team did here. And yeah, we're gonna see most likely a 2v3 coming out of... And Leona's lucky that didn't land, because if Leona had landed that, she was dead.
Holy moly, Muffin just dealing a lot of damage right now. Player actually rotated down towards bottom, but I don't think they're going to be able to do anything.
See, it's very counterintuitive. Like, the mistakes that Blue Team are making are not necessarily the most intuitive things, like emphasizing your strong lanes. Because Sejuani, again, trying to gank, and they can't even win a 3v2, so it's just a waste of time. In fact, it's not just a waste of time, it's an unnecessary risk, because they easily could have died there and just fed Muffin more. So it's like...
Oh, look at where Cho'Gath is. This is a little cheeky play in the top lane.
Oh, Syndra with the Dragon Seal.
Nah, that was pretty clutch, I'm not going to lie. Holy moly. What's happening to Cho'Gath? Is he DC'd or something? Yeah, he might.
Okay.
I was like, that was interesting. I really thought he was going for some cheeky play and like one-shot Jax, but whenever Jax started hitting turret, I was like, oh, well, not working out. So, establishing what we have established here, do you think that there's any possibility of the blue team actually coming back here? Because it feels like they're just taking more advantages, and the later the game goes, Jax is going to become a monster.
Well, I can answer that question honestly, or I can answer that from the shoutcasting perspective, where every game is an exciting nail biter. But I would be surprised if Purple Team lost this game. Like that Dragon Steal's a start. That's the kind of stuff that needs to happen. You know, Purple Team getting complacent and then, you know, letting their guard down. That would be a start, but, you know, unless they continue to make mistakes like that, which I don't think that they're likely to do, I think Purple Team has a big advantage here. I think Blue Team just did not acknowledge the situation that they were in.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough. Well, maybe if Cho'Gath reconnects and he gets a little bit more pressure at least, because this I feel like this Jax is gonna keep overextending for a long time now.
Using middle click to move the camera around. Oh, how does that work?
I'm not sure.
I am very new at this. Like, I did not expect to be streaming shoutcasting when I woke up this morning.
Don't worry.
That's also kind of why the video quality is not the greatest, because I've streamed from my home internet. So I apologize for the production value.
Yeah, but meanwhile, we see, surprisingly enough, I think that I'm more surprised by the fact that Rek'Sai doesn't have more CS.
And jungler CS is always weird. Jungler CS, the conventional rules of CS just like don't apply. I do think his route was kind of inefficient from what I'd seen of it, like taking the scuttle early on, but you know, like the Gromp camp is more important than the I guess you call them Raptors, Wraiths, whatever. Yeah. I'm not hip to some of the newfangled jungle names, but what you would call a Wraith camp. I think the Gromp is more important than the Wraith camp. The Wraith camp gives 4 CS and the Gromp gives 1. Or if you counter jungle a camp, that's kind of like, you know, you counter jungle somebody's Gromp, that's a 1 CS difference, but I think that that's way more pronounced than taking 1 lane minion. Or when you're covering a lane, things get out of whack. So I think as a metric, jungler CS is completely irrelevant. And because the jungler's role is not to, you know, farm and then, you know, reach a certain critical threshold of items and then just start carrying the game. The jungler is kind of like the policeman to make sure that lanes don't play too aggressively. So, you know, oftentimes the jungler is playing well and it just entails them you know, covering lanes or pushing lanes out or ganking and not even necessarily killing the person, but just ganking them to stop them from taking control of the lane. And none of that is reflected in CS, so for all intents and purposes, the conventional CS metric just goes out the window when you're talking about junglers.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I feel like Rek'Sai could have done so much more, especially since Sejuani's playing so far back,
Yeah,
and
they
she's like
both could have.
completely in the bottom lane. Like literally, the top side of Sejuani's jungle has not been visited for a long time.
You know, as well as Werdir has been doing too,
Yeah.
it definitely looked like there was multiple opportunities that he could have been exploited